U.S. has officially dropped some bombs on Iran. The U.S. declared that they had to target 3 nuclear facilities that Iran had. So what does this mean for immigration?
Some people can buy a home only with $1,000.
Hold on, so you're saying that based on the first-time home buyer assistance program, somebody can buy a house with $1,000 down?
Yeah.
What?
It's possible. It's hidden.
We all think that in order to achieve happiness, we either have to get this house, we have to get this car, we have to be in this relationship, we have to have this amount of money in the bank. But it's the journey to achieving all things that truly makes you happy. Everybody knows at least 5 realtors. And people are saying that the barrier to entry to the profession is very low.
Kind of, yes.
What makes a realtor better than the other one? There's a movement now where people are saying you don't have to buy. It's a false American dream. You should just rent. You don't have as much expenses.
The best investment is real estate, okay? If you're renting, every single dollar that you put every month, you're wasting it like a draw into the garbage.
And boom, you already know what we will be starting this episode with. It's been an action-packed weekend. It's been an action-packed last couple of weeks. Let's jump into it. So, U.S. has officially dropped some bombs on Iran. The U.S. declared that they had to target 3 nuclear facilities that Iran had, and this was a retaliation due to the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran. So, I know you've seen the memes. I know you've seen the trailers of the B-2 bombers with the cool American music going on. And I must admit, it did look pretty cool. You know, it's always interesting in one part to see the U.S. flex their military power. But also, on the other hand, it makes you understand why U.S. doesn't have free healthcare, right? But it is really cool to see. And it's awesome to see that the military was able to bring back everybody healthy and happy. But what does that mean, right? On one side, you have some parts of Congress saying that President Trump did not have the authority to call that type of strike without their authority, right? Because in some parts of the Constitution, it does say that only Congress can declare war. However, as you know, the president has direct authority under Article 2 under the Constitution that they may use military action to protect their interests abroad. So it depends on how you interpret it. I mean, this actually was not a war, and the U.S. does have interest in Israel. So in my opinion, I mean, he did have the authority to call that, but I know the legal analysts and all the war pundits who are now experts based on the little stuff that they have Googled would say that he did have the authority. Some will say he don't. But the Constitution, it's up for interpretation. And guess what? It already happened and it cannot go back. And this is going to be ongoing. So what does this mean? And of course, what does this mean for immigration? Because as you know, immigration has been polarized. And have you noticed you haven't heard much about immigration right now since this whole bombing, but ICE is still working. But what does this mean? One would expect that if this war was to escalate, right, of course, there would be a potential oil price spike. It may lead to an economic crisis, but the after effects would be in where immigration is concerned. It would definitely mean that we will have a significant slowdown in consular processes. We will definitely see more security at the consulates all over the world, especially in the Middle East. So you may want to brace yourself for slower processing times, right? And unfortunately, if you are from the Middle East, especially from Iran, you are definitely going to see more travel bans. But guess what? Iran has already been on the travel ban. But it's interesting to see, I must put this in there, Iran did make the World Cup. So that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, no pun intended. But anyways, we're definitely going to see some immigration, significantly more restrictions if this war definitely escalates. And even if it doesn't, immigration is still going to continue to be something that is at the forefront of the agenda and at the forefront of your social media news. But definitely can say that there will be more consular processing restrictions, there will be more travel bans, and there will be significantly more extreme vetting of all people who are traveling into the US, extreme vetting of all visa applications and interviews. Which leads me to my next point, where we're talking about extreme vetting. We have now seen that student visas and the applications, they are now resumed, right? As you know that there was a pause for J1, F1, and M visas in consular interviews. So when it comes down to extreme vetting, right, the Department of State has now said that all student visa applicants will go through extreme and comprehensive vetting, right? Their social media will be at the forefront. Student visa applicants will now be required to make their social media handles public. And these are the things that immigration will be looking for. They will be looking for any type of political activism that is contrary or contradicts U.S. interests. They will also be looking for any type of illegal activity. They will also be looking for any type of post that contradicts any type of U.S. interests. And these are the things that they will be looking for when it comes down to extreme vetting for student visas. So on one hand, it's great news that student visas are now back, because people can now go back to their interviews, because guess what? There is summer classes coming up. There is fall applications coming up. A lot of people have invested their time, their money. I mean, some students, their entire life savings to be able to come and pursue an education in the United States. But there will also be a ripple effect. You have some colleges that, 50 to 60% of their revenue is completely dependent on students, on international students. So that's definitely something that we have to monitor. This student visa mandate will affect colleges, it will affect students, and of course, it will affect the economy and the American people. Whether you like it or not, however you slice it, the everyday person will feel it. Companies will feel it. So as we continue to go down the line of how immigration will affect us, we see a huge shift for President Trump and his mandate when he said that he wanted a pause on every single ICE raid that is taking place on farms, right, in hotels and restaurants, because people are being affected, right? 40%, and in some industries, 60% of these workers were immigrants. So he got on there and he's like, we have to do something. We have to protect the farmers. And there was a pause on all raids. People, like everything else that we have seen, there was a change that only lasted for 5 days, and they are back at it again. So it was raids, pause, and now we're on pause again, because guess what? ICE got a $4 billion increase in their budget, because you know what? There is a 3,000 immigrant quota that ICE has to make every single day. So they have their quota, so they have to make it. So they are back at it again. However, in California, we have seen that Governor Newsom has taken matters into his own hands, and he has passed legislation which pretty much says that if you are an ICE agent in the state of California, you now have to identify yourself as an ICE agent, right? Because what we were seeing these ICE agents, and some of them are calling them bounty hunters, where they're coming in mask and just taking people away. Online, some people say they're kidnapping them. And that became a concern for lawmakers in California. It's now in their hands to where they're now saying, hey, you have to identify yourself. You cannot just take people away. So let's see if other states are going to catch on. I'm not very optimistic about that, but we will see. We will see. So Trump, and he is going on with his mandate. We have some good things going on, but for immigration, huge change. A lot of people are being affected. And guess what? The Americans, the American people are now being affected in our businesses. But, and I say a very, very strong but, there is no a push for a third term for Trump, right? We have some Republican lawmakers who have now taken the necessary steps to say that he is eligible for a third term, which contradicts the 22nd Amendment that a president can only do 2 terms in office. But some say that there is a ghost interpretation of that, right? Some people are saying that he can get in as a vice president. It does not prevent him from being vice president in a third term, which essentially would still make him be in office for a third term. So let's see how that plays out. We have so many things going on in the administration and so many things that have taken place in this first half of the year. Oh my God, I know to you it has felt like it's almost 2 years, but so many changes. Let's see how it all unfolds. Let's see if we will resolve this conflict that we now have in the Middle East. And let's see if we are going to actually pause ICE raids or they're just going to ramp it up. So thank you for listening. And I can't wait for you to meet this next new guest. Excited to have him. And see you there. And welcome back. And we have our amazing guest here. I can't wait to get to talking to her because she has helped first-time home buyers. And I mean, everybody at some point was a first-time home buyer. Please help me welcome Miss Lorena Ortega. Thank you so much for giving us the time to sitting down here, talking with me, and just sharing your experience. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to share my experience.
Absolutely.
And my journey.
Yeah. First-time home buyers, I'm going to jump straight into it.
Yes.
That has been your passion.
Yes.
You've helped a lot. Why first-time home buyers? And why not the people who are spending more money, buying $1 million plus homes, jumbo loans? Why?
Yeah, because there's part of our community, a big amount of people that they won't be able to buy a home unless they have the assistance. That's the reason why I help them. Some people can buy a home only with $1,000. If not, they won't be able to buy it.
Hold on. So you're saying that based on the first-time home buyer assistance program, somebody can buy a house with $1,000 down?
Yep. Depends on the amount of assistance that they get. They can get up to $70,000 from Orange County. Seminole was having up to $150,000. I have right now 2 families that are already approved for $130,000 for assistance. So some people can buy with $1,000, other people need to put $3,000 or $5,000, but below $5,000 or $10,000, who can buy a home nowadays?
What?
Mm-hmm. It's possible.
But like, what's the interest rate and what's the mortgage payment like on somebody who's only putting $1,000 down?
The mortgage payment depends on the capacity of the mortgage.
Of course.
So let's say I have a couple that they were retired both and was receiving pension for Puerto Rico plus Social Security and the husband's Social Security. They got $70,000 and the mortgage payment, we got a property of $200,000. Mortgage payment was about $1,200 including everything.
Wow. My mind is blown, Lorena.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But then it's like a hidden. Why people doesn't want to work with this kind of products? Because it takes more time, takes knowledge, and also to be sure that everything qualified, the customer, the property. So it's extra time. So people doesn't want to take extra 45 days, to close. Everybody wants to close in 3 weeks, in 30 days. This takes 45 days to 60 days.
And typically, what's the price range of these homes?
They can be in Orange County up to $345,000.
Okay.
And
so that's the max.
That's the max, yes.
Okay.
But then Seminole County can go up to $500,000.
Hold on. So before I get to that, there are still homes available for $345,000.
Yeah, there is.
In Orange County?
Yeah, we find them every day. I get contracts for people, and I have actually one that we got in the contract, and it's 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It's a condo in 32824 for $260,000.
And this is not in Pine Hills, right?
No, it's 32824 actually. Is in Meadow Woods, close to the area that is a 32837, that is South Chase.
So these are nice areas.
Really nice areas. It's really close to the malls and everything.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. So Lorena, so you're a real estate broker.
Yes, I am.
Right. And what does a real estate broker do? Because
to the average person, all the real estate broker does is get the loan.
Actually, it's a confusion there because many people think when I'm a broker, I do the loans. The mortgage loan originator is the person that does the loans.
Okay.
I mean, represent the lender, the
Okay.
bank. But in my case, I'm the broker of a firm that have agents, real estate agents below. I'm the one who manage them.
Okay.
So my office have 38 agents, but believe it or not, also have the MLO license, the mortgage loan origination license. So what I normally do, I said, I'm not your typical realtor. I'll be able to help you financially too. So I do an orientation, find out how much they can afford, how much money they can receive in assistance, and help them to go through the process.
Wow. Okay. Tell us about your journey that you were able to get to the position where you have real estate agents working for you and you have the license. And I mean, it's given success. It's given success.
I would say,
talk to us about that.
I walk by faith. I believe so much in God. And
Amen.
He brought me to this country, 1990. I remember February 9. From Ecuador. I'm from Guayaquil, Ecuador.
Okay.
And it was difficult at the beginning, but I always feel that He was with us. My husband came first in 1989. I came in 1990. Then, thanks to my brother-in-law, who helped us to be in his house without paying anything. And my first job, I remember, was a cashier. I found a walk around in Brooklyn. We come to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I went to a place in a Key Food supermarket, I remember so much. And I started trying to get a job. And they were like, oh, come next week. Okay, I will be there next week. And it's, oh, we don't have the position yet. Can you come in 10 days? I was there in 10 days. Wow. So I would say persistence is a big difference. So I went again and he looked at me like, again, this lady. Okay, here is your test. You need some math.
And then at that time, and just out of curiosity, did you speak the language?
Not much, a little bit, because I graduated in American school in Ecuador,
Okay.
but I studied only 3 years.
Okay.
Many of the kids were coming from elementary, but I did only the last 3 years. So I learned enough, but wasn't a lot. And also the English that they teach us that is more like England.
Okay.
So when you come
Is that
here...
the British English?
British English, yes.
Yeah.
So you come here and the accent is a little different. You can okay, what do you say? And then later on I start going to. And so that's the way I started my first job.
Okay.
And when they gave me the math exam for cashier, I said, wow, you're kidding me? This is like a grammar school, like a percentage, adding, subtracting, multiplication, and division. I'm like, so I finished it, I gave it to this guy, and he looked at it, said, do you have a calculator? I'm like, I know, I didn't have a calculator. And he's like, did you copy? Somebody gave you the questions?
Really?
I'm like, no. Why? Because not many people get 100 on this math. Everybody get low numbers. I'm like, this is grammar, elementary school for us.
Yeah.
So he hired me, and we got a good experience there. Now, I started working in AT&T.
Okay.
Call center here in Research Park in Orlando. That was my first job. And actually, before that, I'm sorry. Before that, I worked for Fingerhut. I don't know if people remember the magazines that you make orders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my first job formally in the United States in Tampa. And I said, thank you, Jesus. You are so good. You put me into a position that the beginning, I was crying because I didn't understand people on the phone.
Hold on. So you were working for AT&T.
First of all, for Fingerhut.
Okay.
Fingerhut gave me the opportunity to practice my English and pay me at the same time.
Yes.
So I consider that was a really blessing. Yeah. So at the beginning, it's like, oh my God, okay. And I had a couple people that were telling me, can you transfer the call to somebody who speaks English?
Of course.
I'm
right?
like,
wow.
Okay, when I'm speaking, okay, that's okay. I transfer. So I cry a couple times and that's it. I need to learn to speak more fluently, and my pronunciation needs to be good so they can understand me. And I got a customer over the phone, and I said, I'm going to learn how to lose my accent. Okay. And this person actually changed my life because he said, you don't want that. It was an American born here. I said, why I don't want that? Because you have that accent bring everybody's attention. When we're listening with somebody with accent, we pay attention. But if you don't have the accent, nobody will be like, oh, blah, 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 blah.
I'm so happy you're saying this. Is Carlos here? Yeah. Carlos, do you remember when we were speaking to Nevena earlier, and we were asking about accents, and she wanted to not water it down, but balance it a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, Lorena is saying
that gentleman told me it's like actually that's a blessing that you have that accent. People will pay more attention to you and be proud. He told me, and since that day, I feel proud of my language, Spanish. I feel proud. He told me, I would love to speak just a little, 10% of what you speak English.
Wow. Interesting perspective, right? Like so different. Yeah. From a Bulgarian to an Ecuadorian, right?
Exactly. Okay. So, yep. So then after that, I learned some. Was difficult. I always have to learn strategies. So easier for me was to, okay, what catalog number do you have? So I number all the catalogs in front of me. What catalog? Okay, number 5, here is. What page are you looking at? So then that was easier for me to find. So any job that we take, we have to find a strategy how to do it better and faster.
Okay.
So that's the way I said, thank you.
And where did you get that mindset?
I will say my grandma.
Yeah?
Yeah, my grandma used to tell us, whatever job you do, always do the best. Even if they give you a broom, just to broom one side of the sidewalk or whatever, just do it right and do it the best you can and put love in what you do. And so always find the passion in whatever I do, and that helped me to move up. Then I went to AT&T customer service. So I had already the experience with the finger hut, so they got me in the Spanish queue. And also being like proud of getting $2 more per hour than whoever didn't speak Spanish.
Oh, wow. So now there was an actual benefit to you being bilingual in the U.S.
Exactly. And there were some people that have to wait 2 years in the same position to get $2 more. But because they didn't speak Spanish, I was making that right away, right getting through the door.
Wow.
Yeah, somebody was not happy. And,
yeah.
And that's
how were you received, or how were you treated by your teammates who were like, man, she just came here and she's making more than us?
At the beginning, they were like, that's not fair. We born here, so we deserve to get more money than people, immigrants that come here to the country.
Yeah.
But then later on, when they try to speak Spanish, or try at least, they realize that it's not easy.
Yeah.
That's when they understand, okay, you deserve to get more money because you have 2 languages. I have only one.
Wow. So before you continue the journey, so you said you came here from Ecuador.
Yes.
And you did it legally. So
I came from Ecuador, yes.
You came...
My husband came first, and we were actually fiancé.
Okay.
He was my fiancé. We got married here.
Yeah. Yes, you did it legally. Right? So you came here just like most of us. What has been the most challenging part of transition in immigration?
The most challenging is when you don't have your family, your close family, your mom, your dad, in the times that you need it. When you want to have a baby, you don't know. When I have my first kid, it's like I didn't know what to expect. I was getting all the parents' magazine to read and prepare myself because I didn't have my mom. We used to write on that time more than speaking over the phone because it was expensive.
Yeah.
So writing a letter, waiting for the mail to get there and come back another letter and pictures. That's the way that we communicate in 1990.
Yeah.
So it's not the same like now. No. People have the benefit to just have a...
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so...
And how challenging was it, like, actually just navigating just the immigration journey?
It's scary at the beginning because if you don't know exactly what to expect, what would be the best path, so it's a good idea to have professionals to guide you through.
Yeah.
But outside, there is so much misinformation. Unfortunately, there are so many people that fill out papers. They call themselves paralegals, and they're charging about the same as charging an attorney, but they're getting misinformation, and sometimes people is losing not only money, but they get deported.
You sure you're not an immigration attorney?
No. No, because, but I feel.
Because this is the same challenges that we face. You know, I have clients and they come to me and I look at their case and I'm like, who started your case, and they're like a paralegal, and I'm like, how much did you pay? And these people are charging, if not the same, more than attorneys working from their house, and putting the person in at risk, but even sometimes in a worse position. So now, once my law firm gets the case, it's now additional steps that we have to take instead of if that person had come to us or gone to an attorney from the start. Not saying that all of them are bad, but in complex cases.
Especially complex cases.
Yes.
If you have, Thanks God I found a good attorney in Tampa, and he helped me to go through the level, and he has to go all the way to getting forgiveness and all that, but
a
waiver, yes, before they start all the process.
Yeah. So in terms of immigration right now, in this climate, what are your thoughts on all of the changes?
I think now is more information, but it's still people they don't go and find the right information. They just go by what they hear. Yeah. My neighbor, my friend, and this happened to this other person. But you don't have to go for whatever people think or what they think is better for you. You need to go with a professional because every case is different.
Yeah.
So they can tell you what was good for someone, but maybe it's not good for you.
Absolutely.
So that's
and again, you're speaking like how most immigration attorneys speak, right?
Yeah, but it's the same as real estate. We are the realtors, we are the brokers. They go and listen to their friends that they can afford a house, or they can go over and beyond more than what they can pay. And then later on, they're in problems because they should check their budget, how much I can pay really. It's not like and I always tell my buyers, the first-time home buyers, this is the first step. This is the first one, so you don't need to go and buy a big house of $400,000, $500,000. Let's start from the bottom, and then the next house we can rent this out and buy the next one. But if you go and because the bank is telling you that you qualify for $450,000, you go and spend $450,000. I feel like it's like a credit card. Yeah. They give you a $10,000 limit and go and spend $9,000. No.
Yeah. Do you think sometimes the banks take advantage of either first-time home buyers or even immigrant buyers?
There are no regular banks, but they are what they call hard lending money.
Yeah.
The hard lending money or the hard money lenders, those ones are investors that they don't care. They just want their 12% interest. They want 10% interest. And they actually take advantage of people that they don't have so much information. Sometimes they could get a regular loan, but because they feel they are not prepared, they go to this hard lending money. They get together 20%, that is a lot of money, and they get in the 80% at 12 and 14% interest rate.
Wow.
Exactly.
For like a 30-year mortgage.
Yep. But they give it only 5 or 10 years. It's a balloon.
Wow.
So they need to refinance or they lose their home.
So why not just rent? Like there's a movement now where people are saying, you don't have to buy. It's a false American dream. You should just rent. You don't have as much expenses. You don't have to pay property tax, insurance. You don't have to fix things when they're broken, and you still can live in a nice place. What do you say to that?
Okay, I always will say that the best investment is real estate. Okay, if you're renting, never gonna be yours.
Okay.
Every single dollar that you put every month, you're wasting like a draw into the garbage because you don't get any equity. You don't get any. The worst cases, when you buy a home, the worst that can happen is that 30 years, you have a free pay in full home. Okay. But renting, you're never going to get anything. Also, you don't have any stability because the property, the owner can tell you need to move next year. I won't renew your contract. And you are so happy there, your kids in the school, and you have to move. Or they can raise your rent because unfortunately in Florida, there is no rent control. So you remember in 2020, people got increases of $500 from one year to another.
COVID,
yeah. So there is no stability. So I will say a buy is the best. Sometimes I get those questions and say, what about if I get sick? What about if I lose my job?
Yeah.
So if I buy a home, if you get sick, if you lose your job, if you're renting, you are late, they put your 3 days eviction notice. If you don't pay, you are one step to be homeless. But when you own a home, you can talk to the bank. You can get a nonprofit involved, and they can let you stay easily 3-6 months until you go back up on your feet. You get better, or you find a job, and they can put it behind in the back of the loan. So you
For
are
3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months. FHA will let you do up to 6 months 2 times in the life of the loan.
Wow.
So you're more protected being a homeowner than being a tenant, a renter.
So you're saying to me that with some home loans, right, if you're going through some period of hardship, someone can actually request for the bank to go into a program where they defer 6 months of no payment so you can get back on your feet?
Up to 6 months, yes.
Wow.
FHA especially.
Wow.
Because it's insured by the government. In some conventionals, I think also, I went through the big balloon that was in 2006 that went all the way to 2011. So we helped many families to do a loan modification. So keep their homes.
Do they do that on jumbo loans?
On jumbo loans, I don't think so. It's more primary residence.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, homestead properties.
Yes.
Yeah, investors, they won't work with.
Yeah. To circle back to the previous conversation that we were having, what is the biggest immigration myth that you've heard? It's like a misinformation, and it's a myth that you've heard circulating where now even you're like, no, that's false.
I would say that the attorneys charge too much. That it's too expensive to have an attorney to represent you, and that's a myth.
Hold on, people. I did not pay her to come on to the show. I didn't pay her.
I'm telling you, asking me for that is true.
Yeah.
That is true because they think that getting represented by an attorney will cost you too much money. And at the other side, actually, you're paying more to someone that doesn't have the expertise. They cannot even represent you. You're going by yourself in front of the judge or wherever you need to go. But the attorney going to be on your side. And it's so, I would say, similar because on real estate, some people think they can do it themselves. They can go to the builder. They can go to the for sale by owner and get the property and going to be better, but they don't know the real estate law. They don't know so much how negotiations can be. They don't know how to protect. So it's about the same.
So, and thank you so much for making that point, because it's something that I say to clients all the time, and even like potential clients when they're like, hey, you're too expensive. And I'm like, hey, there's somebody cheaper out there. But you're not just paying for me to do the work, right? You're paying based on the entire team that we've built. You're paying based on the wins and the losses that we've had in the past and the experience that we have developed.
Exactly.
And just like when somebody retains you, they're getting all the experience, both good and bad, to help this person in this unique situation.
Exactly. We're human beings, and like you say, experiences good and bad, but they make you stronger.
Okay. Tell me some of the pitfalls that you see for immigrant buyers that you see them make all the time.
What they do is, like I say, go to the hard lending money sometimes, and also sometimes they get loans, side loans, in order to put a big down payment. So actually they have in the mortgage payment and another payment on the other side. So you don't need to get an extra loan. You can get assistance with programs. And that's when they come to the office. I had a gentleman and he said, I'm ready to buy now. I'm like, how do you know? Because I have $20,000 in the bank. And I'm like, okay, I have good news for you. You have the $20,000. I got through the income and say, you're going to get $30,000 from Orange County. I could get that last year. Say, yeah, I had 2 jobs to get the money. So I couldn't sleep for many days.
Wow.
Got in 2 jobs to get all this $20,000 together. So that's what some people misinform. They think they need to get some amount of money, or they don't know they can buy with a small amount of money.
How can a first-time home buyer find some of these programs or grants for the down payment assistance?
Through the agent. The agent should know if they have the knowledge. And Orange County been having since 1998, being all the time available. The only time they didn't have was about 6 months in the pandemic. That's the only time they didn't have funds.
Okay.
But they always have funds. Orange County. Florida Bond has funds all the time. Up to Florida Bond.
Okay.
The bonds until up to $10,000.
Wow.
Seminole, now they open and now it's a big amount, up to $150,000. So they open only for a certain period of time, and now they are closing.
Okay.
Osceola County was up to $120,000. We got in, we got a couple customers, but also it's a small window that you get in because it's only $3 million, $5 million. But then Orange County has all the time, and Florida bond too.
Wow. So if I was to come to you, Lorena, first time home buyer, and I've heard about grants, what are some of the questions that you would ask me and the information you would need from me in order to qualify for one of these programs?
Okay, we need to have the last 2 years of income taxes. So we need to be sure that the person has 2 years of stability of income.
Okay.
And then we need 2 months of bank statements. They're going to see in the bank statements how your income gets in there. And also they want to need 2 months of pay staff or self-employee income. And if that's needed first. I like to go and see the financial portion first, all the income, determine how much is the income, average, and then also debts. How much are your minimum payments?
Okay.
Cars, student loans, and all that. So then we can do a balance and say, okay, with this income, you can qualify for this amount of money, and you may qualify also for this amount of assistance.
Okay. So does credit still play a role in qualifying?
Yeah, 620 is what is needed for Orange County and from Seminole County. Florida bond, financial department, they need 640. So I don't think it's a big... I mean, I'm not worried about credit much because we can help them to build up.
Okay.
We have a program that is what if. What if I pay this credit card from balance of 400 to 200? So they will let me know how much the credit score going to go up or down. If I touch a collection. Sometimes you don't need to touch a collection. You don't need to settle that collection because your credit score going to goes down.
Wow.
And sometimes you have to touch it. So that's the reason this system will help me to determine what you need to do in order to improve. So if you're not ready now, you're going to be ready in 6 months, in a year. So when sometimes takes 2 years. Okay.
All right. So back to your journey. All right. So you became a real estate agent after you left AT&T?
When I was in AT&T, I started customer service.
Okay.
In Florida, here in Research Parkway. In Orlando. Then we moved to Massachusetts.
Okay.
Massachusetts because it was the best school that I found for autistic kids. I have twins, both autistic. I have 6 kids.
Right. Yeah, but 6 children. Wow.
Yes. Wow. So my second pregnancy, they were twins. And when we received the notice, they were 2 years and a half. Right now, they are 33 years old. Wow. And that was devastating. We didn't know anything about autism. So I have to learn about that. I got therapies and try to help them too. And the best school was there. So we moved to Massachusetts. There were 2 schools, one in Massachusetts and another one was in Oakland, in California. I said, California, moving there. I don't like the earthquakes of movement. So let's go to the cold. So we went there. And that's what they gave me. They didn't have customer service AT&T, so they put me in the store. Sales. So selling cell phones. Because I have the background of customer service, in 3 months they moved me to lead sales.
Wow.
And then in 6 months, assistant manager. A year later, my own store, branch manager.
Wow.
So yeah, just doing the best. And you don't need to have somebody like a breathing on your neck with a camera or nothing. Yeah. You just do it because it's the ethic for you to do it right.
Okay. All right. So then you move from your own store. And then at what point did you transition to real estate?
Actually, after that, because I had my own store in Emerald Square Mall in South Attleboro, working up to 11 or 12.
Wow.
Because 11 p.m. we used to call the mall, they close the mall. And normally we have always someone like 10 minutes prior to closing that they need 5 cell phones. I couldn't say no, so I stayed like at midnight most of the nights.
Yeah.
And actually my banker in Citizens Bank, she told me, we're looking for managers and assistant managers. You're a manager at AT&T. Do you want to move to be a manager for the bank or assistant manager? And I'm like, no, thank you. And move a couple times. Next time. I think God puts you angels or people on the way to tell you things to do. And when my husband heard that, I said, oh, what is the schedule? Oh, going to be from 9 to 6 or 5. He's like, okay, now you're working at to midnight.
Yeah.
So, and you may get more money. I'm like, okay, money, good for me, and time good for my family.
Yeah.
So then I moved to, and they gave me the manager position, Citizens Bank.
Wow.
So that was my changing level there.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed knowing about banking. And that was the first financial institution when I learned I was doing loans, home equity lines, and all that. So that was my first steps on how to do loans and helping people.
Okay.
After that, then we moved down to Florida again because the school for my kids over there, most of my movement was because of my twins.
Yeah.
So the school over there wasn't what we expected. So in Florida, in Orlando, a little school that started with 3 kids, now it was the best school, Princeton School for autistic kids. And like Princeton House, I'm like, wow, that was the school that I left with 3 kids. And now it's the best school that people is moving from other states.
Wow.
So I came back here to Florida and I started looking for a job. Wasn't easy. Moving from Massachusetts with a higher income and coming down was a big shock.
Yeah.
Culturally too, because over there is everything move faster at north. And right here, everybody's so relaxed.
It's a lot more slow, right?
It's slow, relaxed. My goals over there, I had to do 100 checking accounts per month in the bank. Right here was 30.
Wow.
And everybody was complaining here. It's too much. I'm like, oh, I don't think so. That's easy to make. So then but at the beginning, couldn't find a job. $8 per hour. A big shock in 2003 when I was doing in Massachusetts $22 per hour in 2003.
Oh, so you dropped from $22 an hour
to $8.
$8 an hour. Wow.
Yes. So I was like, that was a big shock. I'm like, how are we going to survive with this income? And I need to get maybe 2-3 jobs to make the same money. But I took whatever was available. I was running here, doing some sales and everything until I found in November, I moved in July. In November, I found a job with Southtrust Bank. So Southtrust Bank gave me the possibility to be a manager there. And I started on my feet again here in Florida. But my first real estate license was in Massachusetts.
Okay.
2001.
Okay.
So when I moved down, I sold a couple homes there, 2 or 3 only. And when I moved here, I started all over again in real estate because my license was not, I need to get a new license here in Florida.
Yes, you had to do it over.
All over. It started to get everybody new. We didn't know. But I got to a good broker that guided me through. And when I started real estate, my broker in Massachusetts gave me my first case.
Wow.
Okay? And I started from there. Here in Florida, my broker in Florida gave me also my first case.
Okay.
So I always try my agents to give them at least the first or what I can refer them, because that will help them to learn not only like the book, all practice will help them to do it. So go with a case. Yeah.
Tell me one of your lowest moments in running this company so far.
Sometimes you get disappointed because always going to be one customer or 2 that you can do everything in your life. You go over and beyond. And never is enough.
Wow.
That was, I feel like I did everything. I remember that case, when getting $40,000, was bringing only $1,000, but it still wasn't satisfied.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is, as professional, you feel like, what else I can do?
Exactly. And that's one of the things that's like, CEOs or owners or even high level positions. It's, you have a high standard for yourself.
Yes.
And I mean, we don't want to thank you, but just a recognition that this effort was put
a smile
on your behalf. And, a lot of attorneys, a lot of immigration attorneys go through the same thing. I'll never forget this one case. It was an extremely complex immigration case, right? Within immigration, if you are ever charged with marriage fraud, right, you can never get another green card in this country.
Wow.
Right? And a lot of people don't know that. And it's a serious issue. And we took on this one case not knowing that he had a marriage fraud issue. Right? And I won't get too much into the complexities of the case. But we were able to overcome it. And that is so rare. Right? And we got probably like 3 RFEs. We had to do an appeal. We did everything possible on that case. But it took like 2 years because this person was going to face deportation, but we got it and got him his green card.
Wow.
And we asked for a review. And they said no, because this took too long.
Yep, something like that.
You know?
I'm with you. I understand. I felt
You
that
know?
like we did so much and overcome many obstacles. And I know that in other places they will be just let it go.
They will let the case go.
Yes, because it's too complex.
Yeah.
They don't want it. They'd rather to get easy ones.
Exactly.
It's like a down payment assistance. They don't want people that they need to apply for assistance, waste 30 days, 45 days, and 60 days. Take the easy ones.
Yeah.
You have 20,000, you have 30,000, you have 20% down. Come on, I can help you. Yeah, that's easy.
Okay. So you have customer service and sales, right? Every owner, high-performing executive, they say sales is a crucial skill to have in your toolkit. How has sales been able to help you where you are today?
Yeah, you need to know how to sell not only the product, you need to help how to sell yourself. In order to sell yourself, you have to trust in you. You have to believe that you can do it. And you have to, I think I have a big, strong grandmother and mother and parents. So they gave me the base, the standards. And my mommy always say, I'm blessed. I have both alive. You have to love yourself first before you can love others. And you have to trust in yourself before people can trust in you.
That's so true, and it's so underrated. A lot of people don't understand that loving yourself, that's where the confidence starts from.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what comes after, like money, everything else could come after. But if you don't have that self-love and that self-appreciation, you're in a constant chase. And constant seeking validation.
Yeah. And not only thinking that I'm the best. No. We are human beings. We have defects. We have virtues. We have so many things. And we need to understand that every time that we recognize something that is not the best of you, trying to work and improve. We are always improving. Yeah. Okay? Because sometimes many people, I love myself. I'm the best. No. So you need to understand what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths. So work to get those weaknesses better.
Yeah.
So most of the weaknesses, I would say, of the people when we come here is the language, the barrier. So if we know that the language is our barriers or our weakness, we need to work to improve it. Let's go to state colleges. They charge only $30 for a semester.
And people don't want to do that.
They don't want to do it.
But what would you say?
I mean that it's not something that they don't want to do it. Maybe they don't know. And sometimes we work so hard. I went through college through Barrow University here. I graduated here.
Wow.
And sometimes I didn't sleep all night.
Yeah.
My kids are saying good night and I'm doing my work.
Yeah.
They wake up at 6 a.m. I was there sitting. Mom, you didn't sleep. No, I need to finish this work.
But Lorena, tell me this. What do you think about a lot of the immigrants in Miami? Or even Americans in Miami that say, we don't need to speak English. Why?
You need to speak English in this country, and you need to prepare yourself. What bring me to the level where I am is education. My mom, I always go back to my mom and my grandma, yeah? My mom told me, I cannot leave you houses, I cannot leave you jewelry, I cannot leave you cars or treasures like that, but I can leave you education. And so she was a teacher over there, so didn't make so much money. My father was a taxi driver. So, but she made, I would say, the effort, very hard effort, to put me in American school, at least the last 3 years of my high school. So, and always I was in private school. But the best years was my 3 years who prepared me to come here some way in a level. So she was right.
Yeah.
Education is the key for success.
So what do you say to the people who know in 2025? They're like, you don't need education. You can start your own business. You can learn on YouTube, and college is outdated unless you're going in a specific profession.
I mean, there are so many technical professions. If you don't like college, you don't want to go to college, and you are good in computers, so you can go ahead and get certifications. There are many careers nowadays that they don't need to be 4 years in college or 6 years or 8 years if you don't want to. But go ahead and get, like I say, certifications so you can work with computers.
Which is still education. It's
education.
Still intentional learning.
Yeah, it's intentional learning, but you don't have to be going for a long time because some people get bored.
Yeah.
Or they get discouraged because of, oh my God, I need to pay bills. I need to do this. How are we going to go through college? It's too much. Maybe college is not everybody, but some kind of education, even to become a realtor. Selling homes is a good profession, good commission. And how many classes? It's only 63 hours of classes.
Yeah.
60 hours. I'm instructor too. I have the real estate.
Put a pin right there. So in Florida, right, everybody knows at least 5 realtors.
Yes.
Right? And people are saying that the barrier to entry to the profession is very low.
Kind of, yes.
Right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
What makes a realtor better than the other one?
Whoever goes and prepare and get ready and get education, they'll self-taught themselves. So you have to, and the experience makes a big difference. And also the willingness to learn. They have to prepare, read what is happening in the market. So you always have constantly training yourself, learning from already a board of realtors have so many trainings that you can go and have them because we're members. So sometimes people get part of a membership or any group and they don't take advantage of those trainings and don't prepare themselves. So that makes a difference. Somebody that is committed, that they want to learn. When I started doing new construction, I didn't know. So I learned tray ceilings and how they come, why more expensive, what kind of countertops we can get. So any different areas that you want to sell, you need to learn and prepare yourself.
Okay.
Be the best you can.
Yeah. So you said you have like 35 or 36 agents under you, right?
Yeah.
And you also train agents as well.
Yeah, I do. We have a little real estate school.
Wow.
Yes.
So with that knowledge, tell me or one of my viewers, if they're picking a realtor, right? They see the ads and then they have their best friend who just got their license. In selecting a realtor, what are like the key things that someone should look for before they say, okay, I'm going to have you find my house?
Yeah, they need to look for someone that wants to do the best for the customer. They are no worry about commission because if you put the money up front, then you won't be helping the customer. Also experience. Experience give a big difference because if somebody has experience, and let's say you want to get down payment assistance, look somebody with down payment assistance experience. You want to buy a brand new home? Okay, get somebody that is good negotiating a new home. So depending what you need is to be able to find the best realtors that depends on sales too.
Okay.
But what works a lot is when people give, when you ask somebody to give you a review.
Yeah.
So reviews counts too.
Okay.
So go and check the reviews, the person how did with other people. Testimonies.
Okay.
That's what we do in radio. Our customers would tell them, you want to give us a testimony? Yep. And they come out in the radio. So that will bring us more customers when somebody wants to, oh, I heard you on the radio. You have a show. Oh, I heard a testimony. Oh, my neighbor bought a house with you and they had a good experience. So always it's good to relate with people that had a good experience with their realtors so they can refer you.
Okay. All right. So immigration, right?
Yes.
What I have learned, there are 2 sets of people, right? You have the immigrants who they're now successful like yourself, right? And they have gone through the full journey, but no, they are American success. And they're like, man, those immigrants, they need to join the line and come in just like everybody else. And we need to keep them out. And then you have the other immigrants who they're like, no, let's keep these borders open or let's try to help as much immigrants as possible. Where do you draw the line?
I think it needs to be a balance because one side just open and anybody can get in. I mean, the extremes are bad.
Yeah.
One extreme, like everybody can get in, is bad, or let's close and nobody get in. So we need to find a balance, a middle, where people can get in, but be sure they can be verified. Because not only many of us come with the desire to grow, to be part of this country, to learn, and also to contribute when the times comes. Because at the beginning, probably most of us get some kind of assistance or help in this country, for neighbors, for church, for any other place. But then later on, when you stand on your feet, you said, now is my time to help other people.
Okay.
So, yeah, have to be a balance. It's not easy to say, open all the doors or close all the doors.
Yeah. Do you think the American dream is still the same from when you moved to this country versus what it is today?
Sometimes many people say that it's more opportunities in the past, but always there are opportunities, not in the past only. When we came in 1990, it took us time to go to the level. So it took us 10 years, 15 years. But I've been 35 years in this country. So we went through many things. We went through sharing rooms.
Yeah.
So we had only 2 rooms, and the other room in the front was somebody else, and the last room was another couple with a kid, and 1 bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah. So things like that, we have to remember when we started.
Yes.
And we started from the bottom, from nothing.
Yeah.
From nothing, but we got it. And like I say, family, my brother-in-law, then a cousin that helped us in New Jersey. So always when people that was helping some way. But you have to say, okay, this is the beginning. And when you need to say, be grateful.
Yeah.
Because I told my husband, and we went back like thinking about 1995, something like that. We didn't have car at the beginning. We have to walk.
Wow.
We have to carry the bags, heavy bags from the supermarket, 10 blocks.
Wow.
Because we didn't have a little car. But then later on, we bought a little cart, rolling cart with the 4 wheels to get the supermarket. So little by little. But I always was grateful for that day. I was so grateful to God. And I think being grateful will bring you more blessings. Not telling like, oh, I wish I could have this. I wish I could have that. But that came from my family. My family always was grateful for anything in the place, and we start moving on. So many people think when they see you as a broker or in a position, they feel like we never went through difficult times. Yeah. We did.
They didn't see those chapters. They're only seeing this one. They didn't see the behind the scenes, the production of the movie. They only seen the highlight right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My husband worked in construction at the beginning. He has to dig in the cement with the heat and the sun in Tampa, peel onions that were rotted.
Wow.
In order to get in a supermarket. And actually, he was a doctor. He did a doctorate in medicine in Ecuador.
Wow. But
he said, that doesn't matter. Whatever we did in our country, we just come here and start again.
And these are the stories that a lot of people aren't aware of. I have a lot of clients, just like your husband, they were doctors, engineers, lawyers in their home country, and they come here with the chase of the American dream. But in order to get there, they're starting from the bottom of the bottom.
Yes.
And people don't understand that.
Exactly.
And that's the immigrant mindset, right?
Yeah, they think, but nowadays, the ones that are coming now, because now they have the cousin, they have the family that are more situated, they help them to find jobs. I think they move up faster than what the people we came back in the 90s.
Okay.
So actually, I would say more opportunities now than the 90s.
Absolutely. Do you think America was built by immigrants?
Yes. I believe it is true that because the effort and the dedication of immigrants that's the way this country is strong.
Awesome. And the shift in the immigration climate, do you think that contradicts what you think America was built on?
I know. Sometimes people doesn't recognize how it started everything, or like when you say, oh, you don't remember when you started at the beginning. So now America doesn't remember when they started, how immigrants build it up. So now we are biggest, we're the greatest, but how you get back? It's the same as a professional. Oh, I'm the king, I'm doing this, I'm the best professional. But maybe you started washing floors or dishes or something.
Yeah.
So it's the same as America. America need to remember how it started.
Absolutely. What's success to you?
Success is when you keep trying and trying, because getting to a success is trying several times, persistence. That will take you to success, and dedication.
Okay.
And the blessing. Because
Absolutely.
without God,
Nothing.
I would say nothing.
Absolutely. If you could tell 18-year-old Lorena something, what would you tell her?
I will tell them, get prepared, get education. Even if you want a long career, and you think that's something technical, do it. And the best key is learn about financial.
So that's what you would tell your younger self.
Yeah, I would say, you need to learn about budget. You need to learn how to balance the economy of your house, your expenses, because that's going to take you to the next level. Because if you don't appreciate things, if you don't know what you have, what you can count, and how much you need to spend, you can be I seen professionals, attorneys, doctors, and any profession, they make so much money, but nobody teach them how to budget their profit. And at the end, they have lower credit scores. And I've seen people with $30,000, $60,000 per year, between 30 and 60, with a 700 to 800 credit score. Big difference.
That's so true. I mean, financial acumen, just financial knowledge.
Financial literacy.
Financial literacy. It's so underrated, and especially in the immigrant community.
Yes.
It's definitely something that needs to be honed in on and leaned into more.
That's what we're doing actually with a nonprofit, because we work with two different nonprofits. One is for feeding and through a second harvest agency. And the other one is we do financial literacy. So we went already to Colonial High School for the 2 times, and one to Ponciana High School to help kids, like I said, our community is Spanish kids, to learn about they're going to get credit cards, how to match, what is a credit score. That's what they need to learn. So we need to implement more those kind of financial literacy in high schools.
Work-life balance, right? You are high-performing executive, mother. Do you have work-life balance?
I try. Believe me, I try. Because when you love what you do, you work more than what you're supposed to do.
Okay. So
I try to get quality times for my family instead of quantity, because I devote my time most to my customers, and I like to do it. So I take vacation once in a while, and we do a family reunion. All my 6 kids, my 2 grandkids, and their fiancés or family, and we get together. We go on a cruise sometimes. So I find we need to do it. We do it about 3 or 4 times in the year, and every opportunity we have, we get together. For example, now that comes the Memorial Day weekend. I said, okay, Sunday and Monday I won't be available because I'm going to be with my family. So you need to balance.
Yeah. Here's a question that I'm curious to see how you'll answer it. I ask all my guests this: are you happy?
Yes, I am. You are happy. I feel fulfilled, happy, because mother of 6 kids. In different order, because some people say you go to college first, you do this. I said, I did things a little different order, but at the end, I feel like I could have my family, my parents there, and then I can help customers. I can build a career. I went to college. So I feel that I'm happy and blessed. And that's the reason I like to help other people. They can also realize themselves how to be happy, because you decide to be happy or not.
Yes.
It's a decision.
It's one of the biggest things I learned in my journey, right, is happiness. It's not a destination, right? We all think that in order to achieve happiness, like, we either have to get this house, we have to get this car, we have to be in this relationship, we have to have this amount of money in the bank. But it's the journey to achieving all things, right? Having that purpose, being intentional, and evolving in that person to achieve these things is truly what makes you happy and bring peace, right? Exactly.
Because even in a bad situation, you can still be happy, to choose to be happy, because you learn something.
Exactly.
For that situation. If it was bad, okay. But I remember one of the terrible situations I feel bad. I had the IRS pay $8,000 because some accounting did something, or somebody who prepared my taxes wrong. And $8,000, I was like, oh my God, $8,000. Make payments arrangements, so I pay $9,000 with interest. But that triggered me, I need to learn this. And believe it or not, in 2011, I started taking class. I said, okay, how this work? How this work in taxes? And a couple of friends, I said, what are you doing? I'm running. I'm here to go to the classes. what classes are you taking now?
Yeah.
I'm taking classes to do how to prepare taxes because I pay $9,000. I want to know
Wow.
what they did wrong, or how can I prevent this to happen again to myself? And they were starting, oh, if you're going to learn that, you can do my taxes. I'm like, I'm just starting. But I know you're going to do good. So the first year started with 3 taxes, 4 taxes. The next year with 10 taxes. And now I'm doing taxes too.
So you do taxes.
And we're now
broker.
350 customer
Wow.
taxes we did last year. So keeps growing and growing. But then I have a big team.
Yeah.
It's not myself only.
Yeah.
So I have in the office, we have 2 assistants. I have 2 of help me with taxes. The property management is a manager for the properties that we manage. We have another person, and mortgage has. So it's a big team. Another piece of success is to create a team.
Good team.
Together, everybody achieves more. That's what the word means, a team.
Exactly. And entrepreneurs and owners, the people in your team is really what will continue your brand to grow, continue to have your company growing, right?
Yeah, you're multiplying yourself with your team.
Exactly. How important is culture to you within your team?
It's very important. Diversity, the cultures is one brings something to your strengths, and that will make it better. Because I have one that is great doing videos and the contents for let's say for all the marketing. So she works in that area. So everybody, different cultures will aggregate and get better. Also open to diversity, many different ideas, many points of view.
Yeah. Absolutely. So like how many businesses total do you have your hands in?
How many businesses?
Do you have your hands in?
Oh, in areas that what I do?
Yeah. So there's taxes.
Yeah. Yes. Taxes, real estate. We do mortgages, loans, and then a real estate school. And what is and the nonprofit, and nonprofit and the community outreach. So I believe on the income needs to come from different sources, because when the real estate is kind of low in January, February, I do taxes. So and then when the taxes, so everything have a season.
Yeah.
So I get the best for each season and from each different source of income.
So what do you say to the person who is like, you need to have 7 streams of income, right? But then no, the founders and entrepreneurs, they're like, no, you have to have one main engine first, right? And then you can do the other income, do the other streams, because the others are just distractions from the main one. Which one is it?
I think you need to start with one, make it like a little bit more strong, and then the other ones will come along. Because I started with the real estate, and then I started getting to know, say, mortgage. But always like the lender is not answering the phone after 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And then weekends, I'm showing homes and nobody's giving me a pre-approval letter. So how can I get an offer in place? So I'm like, I need to learn a little bit more about mortgage loan origination.
Yeah.
So what I did is I started with real estate. Then I get into the lending portion, and I got in love with that. So Lauren said, okay, I can start the orientation, but then I will hand it to another team member, another mortgage. And after that came, so little by little being aggregating different areas, but always just start with the core. So my main core was real estate, and still I have real estate, but then the other ones start coming up. Then taxes. And whoever does taxes, they want to buy a home, or they have a home and they do taxes. So one help each other.
Absolutely.
And now, actually, this year we're starting in November at the middle when I start health insurance. Because I have,
of course,
because I have my health and life license.
Yes.
Wow. I had it when I didn't tell you a little bit between I did a Southwest Bank.
Okay.
And it was inside Albertson. There are no more Albertsons anymore. So the Albertson store, that was my in-store branch.
Wow. So you're a serial entrepreneur.
Kind of. And I love what I do. So then my husband said, oh, wow, you work inside the store and late. And somebody offered me from State Farm to become an agent because I like to also networking. And that's another key. If you have a talent, if you have a business, you need to go out and sell it and offer it.
Yeah.
If you don't offer your business, nobody's going to know.
Exactly.
And now it's TikTok and now it's so many different platforms. But in the past, when I came in 2003, they weren't there.
They weren't there.
No, we were actually across the street there giving cards and getting to networking with professionals, with attorneys, with different areas and try to get. So that was our way to do marketing. Wow. So I was outside representing South Trust Bank.
Wow. And
I met this agent from State Farm and he said, "Do you want to work with us?" I'm like, "I know." And always say you're happy where you are. By the way, when somebody's trying to offer you a job and you go to a position, you're always going to say you're happy where you are.
Yeah.
So no, I'm happy where I am and you won't pay me what I get. And because I was so happy, 2003 was like $18 per hour. And I said, Florida doesn't pay good. So $18 per hour was really good at that time. So I was thinking that nobody going to offer me more than that. And he's like, here's my business card. When you're ready, you want to move, and definitely I can pay you more. I'm like, okay. Took the car. When the time came, South Trust was merging and everything was changing. So I'm like, I have a car for this person who told me that. So I pulled and called the person, and that person remembered me. So you remember you gave me a car? Yes, you were the lady that was networking and talking to everybody there in the room.
So that's your superpower.
Yeah, you were moving around and talking to people. I said, yeah, that's me. Okay, yeah, no problem. They did the interview and said, I will. And so they pay me, State Farm pay me for the 220 license, 220 hours. So I did. That's what I say. Education is the key.
Yes.
And that's
now I see why.
And now I tell you this 220 hours of class, and you can start with $20 per hour.
You can't beat that.
You can beat that. And then on top, I was getting commissions because I was doing good in sales and getting more businesses, car insurance, home insurance. And that's the way I started license. So everything was complementing. So now to the point, because I had my license of life and health too. So we are implementing another department with another team member that's going to be in charge of that. So I'm going to be health and insurance. And I have another person with life insurance.
Awesome. All right. So last question. Each one reach one, each one teach one. If you could teach that business owner, that immigrant, that Latina that wants to elevate to the space, to the level that you're at, what would you teach them?
I would teach them, first of all, to prepare themselves, to be sure of what they do and believe in themselves so other people can believe in them. And also customer service. Always go the extra mile. Because that customer who has a goal, has a diamond there. So if you have that customer is happy, going to refer you more customers. The word of mouth. That's what brought me since 2003 when I didn't know a person here in Florida, because I moved in 2003. Now comes to point that I can fill out a big room of people because one good service leads to the next one, and it's very contagious.
Awesome. Lorena, thank you so much for your time. This was a wealth of information, and I know there's going to be a lot of people that benefited from it. I learned a lot, and keep on doing what you're doing for the community. Really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.